class, you guys all do homework check, right? Or most of you do homework check to a certain degree. You walk around and you see empty books, and you see basically kids who don't do. There's always one or two kids who just don't do their homework for some reason, or have some good excuse. What do you say to that kid? Like, what do you tell that kid? Like, do you give him a guilt trip? Do you literally just attack them right then and there? Make them feel as guilty as possible. Do you give them an RMA, a request for management action? What are some things you guys do? I mean, have you encountered that? Yeah, a lot of you. Can I get some hands? Like, what do you do?
A really common one is, like, I'll tell my kids that stupid people don't do their homework, and they're not stupid, so why aren't they doing their homework? I'm like, you're so smart, why aren't you doing your homework? Like, what's going on?
And does it work?
Yeah, sometimes. If not, like, the second time I'll be like, look, I gotta call your mom now. Like, you really need to get this homework done. And then once the mom's called, it definitely works. But, yeah, usually, like, I have that relationship well enough with my students that if they see that I'm disappointed with them, then they'll be like, okay, well, let's snap it up. Let's do what we gotta do.
Great, great. Any other suggestions, any things that have worked for you guys?
I have a girl that doesn't seem to do her homework that often, and she's really smart. And I always give her like positive feedback. I'm like, come on, now you can do it. And I'll write in her book like homework, and I'll like circle it. And normally she'll do it, but like you really have to like push her to get it done. So.
Why do you think these kids don't do their homework? Any ideas, Thomas?
They go to school like 12 hours a day.
So what's wrong with that?
They're really stressed out.
Just kidding. Yeah?
Apart from the fact that, yes, they do go to school for 12 hours a day and they are really stressed out, a lot of the students that don't do their homework, their parents don't care. Like, their parents are really busy, and so nobody's, like, at home reminding them, do your homework.
And how do you know that?
Because we've talked to the parents. The parents are like, oh, we're so busy, we can't really help them. Or I'll talk to the students and be like, my parents don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. And it's like, well, I care. Like, you gotta do your homework.
Sure. And you're probably right. You're probably right. I ask, like, how do you know? Because the fortunate thing with a lot of our jobs is we don't have to have that contact with the parents, per se. And actually, our counselors take care of that. So the good thing is that we have somebody who can ask, right? And actually, you have a lot of counselors and also Korean teachers who actually are aggressively calling their parents to ask, what's going on at home, or what's the status, or if they call back, then they'll interact with. So it is nice to have that kind of added support or ability to communicate with their parents. Because you're right. I mean, I would have to agree wholly. Sometimes, if there isn't parental care, that's one of the reasons why they don't actually do that well in their studies, one way or another. So, any other reasons? Well, I'll tell you, the biggest one that I believe in, or the one that I think, and that's why I have you out here, I mean, one of the big reasons for this presentation today, is I don't think they know why they're learning English. I mean, if you're going out to a party and you don't know why you're there, are you going to stay there? Are you going to enjoy yourself? I mean, if you're going to a university that your parents chose for you, are you going to be passionate for those 4 years? No. I mean, if you don't know why you're even learning math, or why you're taking on this job, it's hard to move to that next level, right? Or it's hard to actually appreciate what you're doing. So I'm going to argue, actually, that why is one of the biggest things that actually affects their motivation, all right? And the thing is, I ask this when the kids actually don't do their homework. I'm like, why are you here? That's the first question. I just ask them, like, so what are you doing here? What's their answers usually? Any idea? They have to be. Why? Because their parents paid for it, right? So they have to be there. If they have to be there, then that's like, and no offense to religion, it's like you have to be at church. I had to be at church when I was growing up. I was sleeping every single time I went to church. I didn't understand it at all. If you understand, you believe in God, and that really helps you and stuff like that, then you're into it, and that's why you're there every Sunday. You get there on time. But if you don't know why you're actually at whatever you're at, then it's difficult. So I encourage you guys to ask your kids once in a while, because you have 3 hours, 40 minutes, depending on, you have enough time with these kids that periodically, it's not a bad idea to just slip it in, you know, if you can ask. You know, some kids it's really hard to ask, but, you know, feel free, just ask them. And when you do, just see what their answers are. And if you want, this will hopefully add a little bit of light, and hopefully will give them a little bit of perspective if you guys can take away with some information that maybe you can kind of explain to them why. All right. By chance, actually, do you guys know how much these kids pay, or their parents? No?
I think it's like $300 a month.
It's up to about $300, because the Ministry of Education prevents us from actually charging over a certain amount of money for the tuition. They think it's just unfair. They think, I mean, there are academies that charge way more than that, but it's all illegal. So they actually have a huge problem in this country because they spend so much money on us. And to be frank, even though the economy goes like this, Hagwon's still like that. It's really sad. I mean, they sacrifice their food budgets before they sacrifice their Hagwon fees. And so it's kind of amazing. It shows you how much they care about education, like how much they're willing to risk financially for their children, so that the hope later on, and this, again, this will go back to this, why it's really important, not just for the kids, but also for the parents, and also for everybody else in the society. So we'll talk about that, and here, why don't we just start right now. Just real quickly, I use this acronym, and it's been a recent acronym that I use. I basically say English shows Koreans, or rather, English helps Koreans see. S-E-E, all right? Any guesses what S stands for?
See?
Social, good.
See?
C? C, okay. You don't have to have the answers, just so you know. I just was curious if you guys could guess. It's for survival. Okay. Any guesses for one of these? English, thank you, good.
Economic.
Economic, it's sort of related to economic. I basically call it, empowerment. And then the last one, any other guesses? Economic English, any other E's? Excited? No. Extreme, okay. Extrinsic, extrinsic? Nice, I like that. I call it excel. And again, you know, how can you give me an answer without me even, you know, giving you any hints? But I just wanted to see what E words you guys had in your head. But in general, I believe that English helps Koreans actually survive in this world. It also helps them become empowered as a country and also as citizens, and it helps them excel. Any guesses to what the country ranks currently economically throughout the world? 12. Or 13, depending on what statistics you actually have. But where do they rank as far as population? Any idea?
137.
Well, you're getting close. Yeah. Well, actually, that's the land size. We'll talk about that in a second. But they're higher because there's about 50 million of these guys, right? In South Korea. So if they're 50 million, can you kind of think? Well, there's America with about 300. There's Russia with a lot. Of course, there's China and India. That's a lot. But any other countries are big? Brazil, Indonesia. What's that?
20th.
20th? You're getting very close. What's that? 25th. It's somewhere around 25th. And you can look at the statistics here. Or actually, it's in the South Korea article, which I didn't print out. But you can actually see this. In the South Korea article on Wikipedia, it says, I believe they're 25th or somewhere around there. That's just population. All right? And then, actually, land size, you were actually close. It's around 137. It's 108. So this little tiny piece of land, which produces kimchi and ginseng, you know, like their two major or most famous products, basically, despite the land size, despite not being that high in terms of population, they're 13. 13. Well, why? How can they be like stronger than their population and even way stronger than what they have as far as natural resources? Work hard. What's that?
No vacation.
No vacation, exactly! 365 a year.